Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another exclusive Copters webinar, the Ultimate Drone Photography Package and Ultimate Drone course as well. You can see on the panel we got Dan Hughes, and we've got Jamie from Copters as well. So my name is Kevin, I'm one of the directors at Copters. Jamie's one of the UAV strategists, and Daniel is the main man, the brand ambassador, the person who has curated the package, but also put together this course. He's actually filming it and creating it as we speak in multiple locations, not just in the UK. There's nothing like it. We're super excited about it. I mean, we're actually trying to get him to hurry up so we can get it out so you guys can experience it as well. But perfection can't be rushed is what he tells us all the time. So I'm just like, all right, Dan. But we are going to talk through it today. And what's really key about this package and the course is, you know what, you can buy drones and you can buy them from Argos, you can buy them all these places, and they've got cameras and you can put them up in the sky and you can take some pictures, and you know what, you'll get some pretty good shots. But what this is about is next level. This is about professional photography, professional course, creating images that brands and organizations want to buy. And for us, that's what's key about this. We are Copters, we're the commercial drone experts, but what that also means as well is we have a clear differentiator. We don't deal with toys. We deal with professional people wanting to do professional things. And it was a real pleasure to get Dan as an ambassador. And it's been how long, Dan? About 8 months, 9 months that we've been working together now.
Yeah, since March last year. Yeah. So
it's been awesome. I've seen them from what you were doing then to what you're doing now is like night and day. It's like I don't know. You've outgrown Copters, maybe. Who knows? It's that big. Some of the brands that you're working with. So it's really cool, and we're really pleased and proud that you work with us in partnership. So what I'm going to do is I'll give you a little bit more overview of Jamie and Dan and what they're going to do, and then I'll let them take over, and then I'll just probably jump in with a few little stories and sound bites of our journey together so far that's got us to this point. So Jamie is a UAV strategist at Copters, and he specializes in working with people who want to either start a drone business, drone entrepreneurs, SMEs who want to adopt the technology into their business, and people like, well, professional photographers is one example who already work in the industry, and they see the excitement and the opportunity with drones and want to bring that into what they're currently doing. And then we've got Dan himself, which is, he's done so many things. It's like, I hate to pigeonhole him. He's like, what is it? SES, airline pilot, cyclist. He's going to tell you all about this. We just summarize it all up as creator, explorer, adventurer, because that just seems really apt. But more so now, he is what I would probably call one of the true professional drone photographers. So he does this for a living, day in, day out. And when we say professional, we say it's not a side hustle, it's not a hobby anymore, but it takes a lot to get there. And we're not going to sugarcoat it, but with the package and with the course and with the ongoing support, you'll have an amazing chance of success. So over to you, Dan, and I hope you enjoy the webinar. Thanks, guys.
That's quite a pedestal you've put me up on there, Kev. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here and honoured and proud to be working with Copters. It's been super fun so far, and it's just going to get even better. So kind of a brief history about me. I suppose ultimately I'm a yes man. I get excited. I like to do fun things, and nothing I've ever done has been out of design. It's just been through meeting interesting people like Copters, etc. You know, I never would have thought I would be here doing courses with Copters sort of 12 months ago, and here I am. So it all kind of started, I guess, even when I was at university, flying planes with the Air Force, was going to be a fighter pilot. It all went wrong because of my eyesight. I'm very slightly short-sighted, but that was good enough for me to join the TA. I met an interesting guy from 2 on SAS, and I thought that sounds really interesting. I'm going to go and have a go at selection. several hundred guys turned up for selection. I was one of the lucky few, or one of the few, to basically make through selection. I was the youngest guy in the regiment at the ripe age of 23, wearing the world famous Sam Beret, and I was very proud to be representing my country in the regiment for just under 7 years, from comms guy, patrol medic, patrol commander, and more. Basically got to do all sorts of weird and wonderful things, but there's always been a bit of a common thread. I was there with a camera. Even there, I was like lugging cameras around, taking photographs of interesting people. But at some point, that had to kind of end, I guess. It was out of choice. It was taking up all of my time, even though as TA, it was basically a full-time job. And eventually, I kind of wanted my life back a bit. I've been kind of running around. No one knew what I was up to, not even my parents, girlfriend at the time. I was just kind of disappearing for weeks on end, and then I come back and I can't really say anything. So that was really interesting, and that kind of sort of went away in 2009 now. So that was a while ago, proving my age. And on honeymoon, we met some very poor children in Bolivia, this mining town called Coptz. Never seen anything like that before. I just thought it was really sad. They're basically sort of born into poverty and almost like slavery, because they end up in the mines, get some nasty disease. And so I kind of wanted to do something to help them, and Comic Relief is a legendary charity which helps children living tough lives. And the idea was to go back and climb this really gnarly route up Aconcagua, which is the highest mountain in South America. It was called the Polish Glacier Route. Anything with the Polish or the Koreans in it basically means it's like a suicide route, 1,000 vertical meters of ice climbing to get to the top. Took the red nose, but then I didn't realize at the time that no one had ever put one on top of Everest. And I thought, right, well, this could be my big opportunity to try and raise some serious money for Comic Relief. So the mission was to try and raise £1 million. And the charitable element just wasn't enough, basically. I was reaching out to FedEx, etc. I'm going to be your delivery guy, take the red nose to the top. It wasn't enough. I kind of needed something really kind of unusual to try and do on the mountain. And being a bit of a tech nerd, I was like on Google, I was like, well, what hasn't been done on Everest? And no one had ever done a live video broadcast before. Picked up the phone, spoke to the guys in Marsat, who are like the leading provider of SATCOMs. Said, look, this is the idea. How do you fancy it? They said, yeah, brilliant, let's do it. And then it was kind of a way to races. Started working on the BBC, 9 months of planning, over 600 people involved. And on May the 19th in 2013, I successfully delivered the world's highest video broadcast from the summit of Everest to the BBC News channel. Super cool. They even broke through the news programming to speak to me. So that was great. However, that all sounds very glamorous and amazing, and it was amazing, but I didn't raise £1 million, which was gutting. It still pisses me off today. But anyway, whilst I was doing that, I got sponsored by Gatorade and went up to their sports science labs, which is all the Great Britain team go up there and stuff like that. Ended up getting the 4th highest power rating on the bike. They said you should be racing. I said okay then. Less than 12 months later, I was racing for Great Britain, 2 world championships in duathlon in Spain and in Australia. And then a few years later, built a house, came back a few years later, and then met a guy. He said, how do you fancy riding with us? I started riding with a professional race team. And then that is where kind of the photography journey really started. I've always been that guy taking the photographs for everybody else. That's just been me. I'm like a manic photographer. I can't help myself. But that was the outlet where I suddenly realized that actually I could combine 2 big passions, cycling and photography, or outdoors and photography, and just started working with some really substantial brands from like Garmin, Shimano, Specialized, Gatorade, etc. And I've just been on this kind of crazy journey for the last sort of 3 and a bit years, where every year things just seem to get bigger and better, bigger budgets, more exciting opportunities, and now I'm here, like flying drones as well, and I never would have thought that either. So it's amazing. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but fun.
Is it safe to say you're only at the start, Dan?
It's kind of funny because I'm going to tell everyone how old I am, but I had my 40th birthday last year, and like people saying, "Oh, 40," and I was like, "Mate, I haven't even started. Like life is just beginning. Like this is super fun." Like
this is exactly what I tell everyone at Copters, man. I turned 41 in December, and I'm like, this is prime time. This is like, I've got the experience and wisdom, I've got all the learning. Now it's all about taking it in the next 20 years, just exploding.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you know, cycling's maybe a little bit more age related, and is why I'm not racing. You know, but the point about it is that you can do any of this at any age. It's all about drive and enthusiasm.
Absolutely. Over to you, Jamie.
Yeah, spot on. And just to carry on that point, we've got a lot of people in this industry they've been working in something for 20, 30, 40 years, and they're wanting that change in career. And especially at the moment, it's so ever present that people are out of work, and not everyone can be as lucky as us and working every day. This is that opportunity to change that career. So yeah, we have found that a lot this year. It's never too late to crack on. It's something I constantly find with this industry. It's something that nags at you. It's an interest. It's you can go out on these adventures and capture this footage from a different angle. So this might be the leap. It might be the first step for you to make that inquiry and move from there. But it's so true. It's early days. It's early days for everyone. But yeah, so in terms of what we're going to do today, there's a few things in terms of the agenda. So who are we at Coptz? We'll a bit of a walkthrough there for you, meeting the man behind the camera. So we've had that great introduction from Kev and then Dan himself. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about where the cameras came into it and where the drone came in. And then we're just going to dive into this course, this really exciting course. You're not going to believe some of the content that we're putting together for it. And then the actual ultimate drone photography package. So that's what we're all here for, to see, to hear about. The contents are all on our website, but we're going to dive in deep, toothpick it, and just look at all the little details that are involved. Dan's going to be talking about his experiences with them, because we've based all of this on Dan. Dan is absolutely smashing it with his drone in the industry, so we're mirroring it on him. A lot of companies, a lot of marketing, a lot of cinematography companies are working off the back of that already, off that model. So we think and we know it will do exactly the same for you guys. So what's included in the pack, how to get your hands on it, and then what we'll do is Dan's got a lot of stories, a lot of experience behind him, but we'll have a Q&A at the end, so feel free. We've got this new tab, so bear with us today. It's all a bit new to us, but it seems really cool. I think so far it's going well for us. I think it's really nice and clear. It sounds like everyone can hear us nicely, so yeah, really good start. But yeah, let's dive in, shall we? So moving on to who are we at Coptz. Kev, did you want to jump in on and talk about Coptz and ourselves being one of the directors?
Yeah, no problem. So Copters, we started in 2016. Our two founders, they worked in the marine industry. They set up the first company in 2020, and it was actually when they were working in the marine sector that they won a multi-million-pound contract through the use of drones. And this was about 2014, 2015. And when I say multi-million, it was like a 60 million pound drone contract, global one. And when they won that contract, it opened up their eyes to the drone industry and the potential of drones across multiple verticals, but also drones for good as well. Which was really cool. So what they decided to do was in 2016, once they got that all up and running, they decided to set up Copters and wanted to be very specific about being enterprise and B2B, so commercial drone solutions. So going beyond the hobbyists and the consumers. So the drones that, like I said before, you could buy in Argos. And what they've done since then is we've decided to focus on being drone agnostic. So we work with over 20 of the global drone brands in the world, including DJI, Parrot, Flyability, Wingtra. And it's not just about the drones as well. And Dan will be talking about this, especially with the package in the course. The key thing about drones is, yes, it helps to be able to fly them, but the industry is going to be about data and what you do with the drone and what you capture, and that applies to photography as well. You can't just send a drone up and take a shot and then just push that out thinking you're going to get somewhere. It won't. You might get a killer holiday snap that you can show your family at Christmas, but you're not going to get something that people want to buy. So since 2016 to now, we are now the UK market leader for commercial drone solutions. We work with national organisations, including MOD, national, MOD. I can't even think of them now off the top of my head, Jamie.
Well, they're all listed at the bottom of the slide anyway.
I know. So MOD, government, we work with everything from BMW, costing, Murphy's in surveying, and we've just done some really cool stuff now with people getting a wing train. It's all about tackling climate change, and wing train is one of our fixed wing drones, which is cool. So the applications and uses are going widespread. And one of the things that I would say is that with drones, COVID, it's hit a lot of industries really bad. There's no denying that. But the one industry that has been accelerated and had a positive impact is actually the drone industry, because the clue's in the title, unmanned. And a lot of the things that you had to do with people without social distancing, where you need 2-3 people to inspect critical infrastructure, for example, you can't do that at this moment in time. So they're turning to drones to do that kind of work. And we've actually seen the global drone industry was moving along like that, but now it's just gone like that. And that's just great for everything. And we are not just a commercial drone solution provider, we also run the largest drone training school in the UK. And we will be going global with that very shortly as well. We just in January alone, we've had over 1,000 students enroll on one of our drone courses, and that is like that's just unheard of. We've never had that in our for over 4 years in operating. So we're also with the school, we're very clear on what we want to achieve and the direction we want to go to, and you'll see this with a course as well that Dan's creating for you guys that you're going to love. It's like there's courses and then there's courses, and what we wanted to do in the industry, and you'll see that with the Ofqual accredited, Ofqual 4 and Ofqual 5 is you can have a drone training course, but the Ofqual is that extra little bit of quality assurance. A lot of people say, and we get this a lot, it's like, yeah, but you don't need Ofqual to work in the drone industry. And it's like, yeah, but our pilots don't work in the drone industry. They work in every single industry, and that's what Ofqual's recognised in. That's the standard across them all. So we wanted to take drone training from there to there, in line with our mission as an organisation, which is to revolutionise organisations using drones. And I think that's it in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on, absolutely spot on, Kev. Yeah, and just to go on from there, is we've talked about the academy. We've got a lot of people that have gone through the course now, and it's that ladder process. And with courses like Dan's that we're going to be talking about, it's just taking you to that next step, that specialist training. But yeah, let's crack on, shall we?
Production companies won't touch you if you don't have an official accreditation. So if you want to go and do commercial TV work or commercial TV, they just won't touch you because they know that you're not insured and you're not licensed. So if you want to do this professionally, then you absolutely need the qualification.
Yeah, it's necessary. What we're going to be touching on the actual training later. On what you need to do, and 100% we'll dive into this and go into a lot more detail. But yeah, Dan, so do you want to tell us about the man behind the camera? Where did drones come into this situation? What have you been doing with drones? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. So I kind of briefly sort of talked about who I'm kind of working with now. To give you an idea of how busy I am, last year I did 42 commissions. And it really is across like a massive spectrum of brands, from kind of like outdoors shooting in Patagonia. Got a big trip in Iceland this year, which we partnered across multiple sectors, from like MSR stoves, North Face, cycling brands, and Iceland tourism. So generally everything I do is kind of multi-partners, and I try and get as many partners as I can to help build the brand, and also it just makes it more interesting. We have lots of people helping to promote the content. But yeah, the drone, the Mavic 2, pretty sweet Christmas present to myself a couple of years ago. The idea was to basically get it to kind of follow me with the follow me mode. Quickly realized that the limiting speed, I don't know the exact number, I think it's 22 miles an hour. Either way, it's not fast enough. my top speed on a bike going downhill is 65 miles an hour. So the drone will not keep up with me unless I have someone piloting it, which is a big problem because basically I shoot myself most of the time. So I'm kind of, am I the master of selfies? Maybe. I've got my drone and I've got a couple of 8,000-pound cameras which I use to kind of photograph either myself or other clients. It already kicked off where I took one of those very expensive cameras on my back with my drone. I carry everything with me when I'm on my bike doing all these shoots, which again is very, very unusual. No cars, it's much more exciting for me. Rode quite a long way away from the hotel in Rio. Got the Olympic course there and these beautiful like rollers. I think Copters, I think you guys have got some of the photos, but got my camera out, went to put it on the tripod, and I forgot the little mount underneath my camera to put it on the tripod, and a few swear words were said, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do? And then just the penny drops, like, well, the drone's got a camera, a very comprehensive camera, but at that point I really didn't know anything about it, I'll be honest. I knew it was like 20 megapixels, but I hadn't really played with it. But I thought, right, I'm going to use my drone as basically my tripod and camera and just see where I can get with it. Got them back, put them into Lightroom, which is like a photographic editing program, and I'll talk about that a bit later, and then realized the penny dropped that actually the camera is insanely good, to the point where I've got a commercial printer here and I print them A1 with no loss of quality from the drone. It's very, very good. And then on like they went on clients' websites and all sorts. They had no idea that I'd taken it from a drone. So that was when the penny really dropped, that actually the drone is not for filming for me. I do filming, but actually it's just this incredible camera in the sky where you can get aspects and shots which you just never would be able to get from a normal camera. And I still do this, but I'll literally like climb up an opposing mountain. If the shot is really, really important to me, and I've done that a couple of times last season where I climbed up like 2,000 meters in my cycling gear with my camera. I dumped my bike in a bush, climbed up the mountain with my tripod and camera because I wanted a 240 megapixel image of this mountain. So I still do that stupid stuff, but this is so much easier. Just use one of these. It's an amazing tool, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today without it. It's such a powerful tool to the point where I've now got 2 drones, because I realized that I have 2 of everything when I go on a job, and now I even take 2 smartphones because I suddenly realized I had like some big, if I ended up, if the drone didn't work or if I crashed it or something like that, it was a major weakness for me. Such an amazing tool. And the shots you can get with it, insane, really good.
Yeah, spot on. In terms of the camera and the drone, we're going to be touching on that later, but we find this more and more at the moment. It's realizing how good this camera is. So we can look at the specs, we can look at the details, but it's a Hasselblad camera. That's where the magic happens, and you're going to go on these adventures on yourselves and get out and see these different places. This drone makes such amazing images, and because of that you can jump into different industries. So as we talked earlier, in terms of the drone, this industry is kicking off, the sectors within that, there's so much going on. You can experiment and see what you like, see what you don't like doing as well, and then just build from there. But yeah, there's plenty going on behind the Mavic 2 Pro. And just to kind of carry on from what you were just talking about there, Dan, I know in terms of the course, you've been traveling quite a lot. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and about the actual training itself?
Yeah, sure. So it kind of all kind of starts off in terms of what I've got in my bag, what tools I've got, what items make my life easier or better. But ultimately, the whole idea of the course is basically to share everything I've learned, all the mistakes I've made. So either you don't have to make those mistakes, or basically to turn you into a really accomplished drone photographer by the end. So the first couple of modules or chapters are literally just about photography. So it does relate to the drone, but it's not drone specific. It's like the fundamentals of photography. So using the different modes of photography and why you take a shot this way, how do you frame an object, etc. Because if you don't know the actual basics of photography or how to get that shot, then that's going to be really difficult for you to then actually get decent results at the end. So that's quite a big section. And then the middle section is all about flying your drone in kind of really interesting and challenging places. I was kind of racking my brain where I've always found it quite challenging, and 2 environments have been flying in the mountains and flying in coastal areas. So the mountain section, I was actually going to do it in Europe, but I've changed my mind. So filming in Wales and Brecon Beacons, a bit of an emotional stomping ground. So I'll get to share with you where I did some of my SAS selection, but actually it's a really, really interesting area. I don't think I've been anywhere where it's got such interesting microclimates and how the wind and weather can change so quickly. And all those elements are like the things which make flying drones in mountains like really, really challenging. And even like little things about kind of trying to work out, well, where is the light going to be in a mountain, you know, going on Google Earth, trying to work out light predictions, sunsets, sunrises, mission planning, etc. So basically putting everything I learned from like the military and all the drone flying I've been doing all into that module. And then same with coastal flying. So I shot one in Costa Rica in the coastal module. And that was really, really interesting, and just kind of highlighted the need for proper planning. A couple of days before, I saw these helicopters flying down the beach at like 50 feet. It's like, shit, excuse my French. If I had my drone up, I'm being totally legal and flying my drone at 50 feet, but that is a hazard, which I hadn't thought about. So all of these modules have little things where I've just suddenly realized, actually, I hadn't thought about that. I didn't realize that these guys would fly down the beach at 50 feet. And the importance of like selecting your like drone takeoff site. I went there one evening, like brilliant, fantastic light, but I didn't really take into effect that actually the tide comes in 200 meters. So actually where I was going to go and launch would have actually been underwater, and I would have been there scratching my head on that important shoot day. So all these little things which I've kind of learned, I've whacked that in there. And then the final part of the mission or the package is Lightroom and photo editing. It doesn't matter like what you're using your drone for, whether it's for kind of like taking nice pictures of mountains, photographing weddings, doing aerial surveys, etc. Like every single photo which you want to share should go through an editing program. One, because you can do absolutely incredible things where you think you can look at a photo and go, I cocked that up. 9 times out of 10 you can rescue it, which is obviously very useful. But even just like micro adjusting the brightness or the exposure, just that little bit, that you've made your photograph better by another 5 or 10%. And then lastly, talking about consistency in terms of your branding and what you're giving to your partners, which is why I've put in the presets into the kind of the drone photography package, where you get the drone, and we're going to talk about it later. Delivering really consistent images to your partners is really important, and actually a lot of your partners will actually say, well, look, these are our brand style guides. So a brand I work with, they'll give me a brand styling guide. They'll say, look, these are the type of photographs we want, these are the type of edits we want, and you can't do that unless you have Lightroom or have the experience to be able to basically do that. And that is where presets, or being able to apply consistent gradients and filters onto every single photograph, so they can look at your 50 photographs and go, yep, they're all from the same set. Very, very important tool. Clicking that exposure, clicking that button and taking the shot, only half your job is done. 100%. So yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be really useful, and I'm stoked about it. I think it genuinely be very, very useful.
Yeah, that's it. Well, there's these 3 main components that we've spoken about in terms of the course, but when we've been out, Dan has experienced these. He's gone out. It's a very, very creative mindset, and we've seen what's worked, what hasn't. We've made a note of it. So we're skipping that stage for you and giving you this information just to hit the ground running. As we know in this industry, it's all about risk, it's all about safety, and it's all about the right process. So again, I'll touch on this later with the GVC course, but that will help you through these processes anyway. But this is just to streamline it. You can get free softwares, but Lightroom, Photoshop, these high standards are the ones. So in terms of this package, Lightroom is absolutely spot on. As Dan said there, it's like having a signature on your work. It's having that consistency throughout your stuff. If people notices a picture, that's like Daniel Hughes' image. That's how he does his. That's that same standard. If you look on Dan's Instagram on his website, it's awesome. When I'm recommending people how to get their Instagrams going, which is a really amazing social media platform, I recommend they have a look at Dan's website, have a look at his Instagram, because that's the standard it needs to be at. We do and we will build this up like a ladder system. So you need to get that flying experience under your belt. Then you need to start practicing and playing around with the settings. But it's all building and building and building. And then this is where this package and this training comes in. In terms of photography, how many pictures, Dan, would you say you take for that one good picture?
I think that's again where experience comes in terms of knowing whether a shot is going to work even before you take it. So I am kind of getting much better than I was, but I reckon. I mean, I put 10,000 images into my gallery last year, and I would think that I took over 150,000 photographs last year.
Well, this is
somewhere along that lines.
I'm talking to people a lot about content, about getting information out there. If you went out and took 5 pictures, this is not enough. You need to experiment. You need to take 10 pictures for every one. But it's never the case. Like Dan said, when you're in Lightroom, you can save so many images. So you need to get as much content as you can. And when we're going through this training and getting drones with great cameras like this, you'll be able to capture some amazing stuff. But yeah, in terms of the course, more information to follow. Is there anything else you wanted to add on that, Dan, about the training, or is that as much as we can do at the moment?
I mean, I could talk all day about it, but yeah, for sure. Just like little things, little tips. Never just take one photograph, for sure. Like always take a couple. And the reason why I've chosen the Mavic 2 Pro over, say, something like the Mavic Air 2, where technically on paper the Mavic Air 2 has got 48 megapixels, and the Mavic 2 Pro has got 20 megapixels. So it's very easy to get hoodwinked into numbers. It's a bit like if you buy a 4K television. There's 4K televisions and then there's 4K televisions. Yeah, it has the resolution, but it doesn't mean that the resolution is any good. And with the Mavic Air 2, I mean, it is a great drone, and that's my backup. But it pixel stitches, so it puts 4 photographs together. It's actually a 12 megapixel camera, not a 20 megapixel camera. The sensor isn't as good, and also a massive part of the Mavic 2 Pro and the course is about having the confidence to shoot in manual mode, where you're then controlling all the different elements which will affect your photograph. The problem with drones is that they're pretty good. Like if you popped it up and put it in auto mode, the chances are it'll do a pretty good job. But it doesn't really know what you're trying to photograph. It will look at something, go, oh, that's too bright, and makes it dark. But it didn't realize that actually your main focus was not the sky; it was actually the thing on the ground. And that is the big issue of automatic, or using automatic on drones or any sort of camera. It doesn't really know exactly what you want. Whereas with manual controls, you can absolutely get it perfect, and you can have a play with it as well. So I might have one shot and I might take 5 different exposure levels, and then when I get back into the edit, I can then select the best one. But yeah, it's just it's fun and games. Yeah, you just got to have it. It's got to enjoy it and play.
That's it. It's all about experimenting, isn't it?
Yeah, figure out the shot before you get the drone in the sky as well. That's my next big tip. So, I'm not going to have any tips to give in the course, am I, at this rate?
Yeah. And Dan, just one last thing on the course then. We've got a question in from Andrew. Is there, in terms of, we've obviously spoken a lot about photography, is there going to be a lot of videography content on there as well? Because obviously you post quite a lot anyway.
Yeah, so there will be elements of it. So in Costa Rica, when I was doing the filming, I was talking about video work and shutter speeds and ND filters, and that's why they're packaged in with the Daniel Hughes photography package. Having those filters, they're definitely a lot more important for video work. So I do brush on that, but primarily the course is geared around photography.
Spot on, no, spot on. Right, okay, so let's crack on. So in terms of getting on and into the actual package then, so I think we've touched on this already, Dan, about how you fall into the world of drones and what kit you use. Let's crack on, I say. So yes, this is all about the ultimate drone photography package. So let's dive in and let's see exactly what's inside. So the Mavic 2 Pro. So Dan, do you want to just walk us through your drone, what you love about it, what you found out, and what I know we last time we spoke about some of the different settings that you have the drone on. Do you want to just give us a bit of a background on your drone?
Yeah, sure. So when I bought this drone, first off, a couple of years ago, I got it with the kind of the standard controller where you put your phone in it. It didn't come with a smart controller. I bought the smart controller last year, and I thought to myself, what have I been doing all this time? So yeah, it does come with the smart controller, which has a much brighter, bigger screen. It is so much better than the one which comes bundled with it, in terms of you're not worrying about your phone. It boots up quicker. You can put multiple drones on it as well, which is really really useful. So you can have multiple drones in just one controller. So yeah, I was kind of kicking myself that I'd spent a year without that. That is an amazing tool. And then yeah, the drone which I have here is just the standard version. I've got multiple kind of carry cases, from like the soft case with the fly more case if I'm like really space limited, to a kind of a Pelican waterproof case for like which I'll like chuck down rivers and stuff. I've literally got lots of different carrying solutions for it. And the car charger in the fly more kit is actually really useful. I use that a lot. And I definitely go through 4 batteries on a day. On some days I might get through sort of 6 or 7 batteries worth of flying. To give you an idea, I don't know how many flight hours this drone's got, but in the summer I was away for 3 months, probably flying at 5 hours a day. It was pretty nuts, really. It's probably got more hours than any other drone out there. But
but
yeah,
in terms of flying though, how easy is it to fly as well? Could you just comment on that as well?
Yeah, so there's lots of different modes, from tripod, sport, and performance. Performance is amazing. You can fly at crazy speeds, but you can also smash it into a bridge at 50 miles an hour. Performance scares me. It turns off all the protections and flies incredibly quickly, which is great if you're trying to like follow cyclists or a car or something like that. But that just means that, you know, in terms of that drone safety and precautions and stuff like that, for other people, there's one thing obviously if you like crash a drone, but if you hit something at 50 miles an hour, then that's obviously very irresponsible. So most of the time actually I use it in tripod mode, might go into sport mode, just because the way I'm using it, I will literally just pop the drone up, have it hovering, and then I'll take a shot. Most of the time I don't need, you know, the additional speed or the additional maneuverability through the other settings give you. But it is like in performance mode, it is nuts. It's incredible how maneuverable it is at serious speeds.
Intelligent bit of kit, really are. And at the end of the day, what we're working with is a camera in the sky. So it's being able to catch these amazing bits of photography, this amazing data, footage, whatever industry it may be. And obviously today we're touching on photography, but this drone will do a lot of the hard work for you, and then we can dive into getting the best out of it. So just like we said, in terms of using an SLR camera, yes, you can get a really nice image from it, but understanding the details and going in and diving deeper into that Hasselblad camera is going to work absolute wonders. In terms of flying the drone, it is classed as a commercial, more of a hobbyist standard drone, consumer, but because it's so good, because the data is that high standard, you can use it in most industries. So the drone was actually made for cinematography. As you can read there, 20 megapixel Hasselblad camera. It's got a 1-inch sensor, which means it can let loads of information in, let loads of light in to the drone brain essentially, and the footage you capture, no matter what industry you're going to be in, is going to be good. I get loads of guys that send me messages and send me pictures of some of the footage that they've captured with their drone early doors. When people get back, I'm always saying, look, keep me updated. When you get out flying, let me know how it goes. And even the beginner stages, when people are using this drone, the results are fantastic. So this course and this bundle is all about fine tuning it and just getting the best shots that we can, and just getting out on it and going on these adventures. And what a great drone to do that. As Dan said, it's great for you, shoving in your backpack. If you want to have a carry case, we're about to talk about the actual bag that it comes in, but it's a really nice size and weight where if it's something for a hobby, fantastic. If you want to do some commercial work, again, absolutely fine. And just to touch on that, I was recently speaking to Terry Sparrowhawk, who does a lot of cinematography and works with the Inspire. And he was doing a shot down a river, going under some trees, going up under some bridges, and he just didn't feel confident with a drone because of how big it was. Because of the standard of this drone, the Mavic 2 Pro, he did the job and they couldn't tell the difference. This is nowhere near the price of an Inspire 2, but the footage it competes. So yeah, without the Mavic 2 Pro as his backup drone, he would have lost that job, and it was for TV work as well. So it's unbelievable what this drone can do. Pound for pound, I'd argue it's one of the best in the industry. It really is phenomenal. It really is that good.
And also, like the more expensive DJI drones, the battery life is nowhere near as good. So like the Inspire drone, you might get 12, 13, 14 minutes worth out of it. Whereas this like is just under 30 minutes. The Mavic Air 2 is even more. 12 minutes is nothing. You know, in the course I talk about landing with 10 minutes worth of duration in your battery. So every single flight you would take off, you would be there nervous about endurance and range. Whereas with this, yeah, the battery life's really good.
100%. It's such a reliable bit of kit. Camera, fantastic. Flying capabilities, fantastic. And in terms of the actual drone, because it folds up and folds down, Dan, if you just hold up the drone again, it's such a nice, compact, sleek. It's just well thought out. So there's no wonder the drone is like the most popular in the world. It is just a phenomenal bit of kit. There's no regret when people go ahead with this drone. It is that good.
It's a tank. It's good.
Right, so I touched on the bag just then. So I wasn't aware of this company before I met Dan. So it's called Peak Design. But yeah, Dan, do you want to just walk us through it, because it really is. It's a good bit of stuff, this, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, Peak Design, they're kind of based out of California. They kind of started on Kickstarter, but it's one of these like amazing brands where form equals function. It's just really high quality. So I've got like tripods and bags and all sorts of stuff from them, where it just like puts a smile on your face when you use it, because it just makes your life so much easier. So this is basically a duffel bag, but the beauty about it is that it's got straps which then hide away, so you can like wear it as a rucksack, which is really good. Or you've got the classic duffel bag handles. It's got fully waterproof seam. You can see it's got like side pockets for putting, like, you know, if you want to start putting an SD card, little holders and bits and pieces in the sides. And it's bomb proof, basically. Really durable, but beautiful at the same time. Yeah, it's a nice, as bags go, it's a nice bag.
Yeah, that's it. There's only so much we can talk about a bag, but it really is that nice. It's those little things, isn't it? It's, you know, when your laptop doesn't quite fit in your bag and you have to get a different case and it's not quite right. These are so well thought out. As you can see from that image, it's just right and it just works. There's no worries about it, and it looks professional. There was a chap that I helped out a couple of years ago, and he was telling me that he turned up for work with a Tesco's bag, and I was like, that's not the look that you want. It's all about looking the part, being efficient, and doing a great job. If you walk in with a bag like this, they know that you mean business. You look the part, you're well thought out, and so is the product. There's going to be no fiddling around at the bottom of a rucksack. It's there. Take it out, unfold the drone, flying within a couple of minutes, and off you go. But it really is a sleek bit of kit. When we got them in, Kevin, they were really good, weren't they? Got them in the office. We all had a good little look at them. It's just quality stuff. Yeah, they're on mute, but yeah, essentially really good. Kevin got them in, and then we all had a little play of them. But yeah, lovely bit of kit. But moving on into next step of the package. So we've touched on editing. So within the package, within this Daniel Hughes package, the ultimate photography package, you've got a couple of things here we're going to talk about. So firstly, we've got Lightroom, and then we've got these ND filters. So Do you want to just explain a little bit about both, Dan, and we'll just keep jumping in?
Yeah, sure. So as I kind of briefly mentioned before, so Lightroom is I believe is the industry standard in terms of photographic editing, and it's a part of the Adobe Creative Suite. So together with Photoshop, etc., you can do some amazing things. It helps you kind of like sort out all your photographs in terms of libraries, but most importantly, it helps you edit them. What you can do is you can build these things called presets, which basically means that you can set up certain levels of exposure, color, texture, clarity, shadows, highlights, whatever. So you can set that all up for one photo. And for instance, so when I go and do a job, I'm away on Friday. The first few photographs are basically build a setting which I think is going to work for 99% of all the photographs I'm going to take out there. I'll record those settings, and then I can then save all those settings as what's called a preset. And that means that I can then drag 150 or 10,000 images and say, look, apply all these settings to every single folder, and it does it in seconds. So that instantly makes everything pretty consistent. And then with every single photo, I'll then just go in and micro adjust certain settings to make sure, because it's not going to work perfectly for every single photo, but it's going to get me ballpark there. So it saves you huge amounts of time post edit. And in essence, I've built a series of drone specific presets for you to cheat. Basically, you can put your photographs in there and produce banging photographs. The ones which I've had in magazines like Prints, etc., on some of the world's biggest social media platforms, and you can just apply those in seconds, and it'll make your photographs look fantastic. And you can show your mates, look at my great photos, because the Lightroom does really elevate your photographs without a doubt. And then the ND filters, I do use those for photography, but yeah, it's more to do with videography, where shutter speed is absolutely critical to your video, and you can't control the drone in the same way you might be able to with photographs. So in essence, if it's like really bright outside, you're basically putting a pair of sunglasses onto the drone, and that allows you to keep that constant shutter speed and not have the video like overexposed or like too much light and then you don't see anything. So yeah, you absolutely need those, because you will do video. Video is amazing. Like, it's always cool to like show your mates some videos, some cool places.
That's it. It's, again, when you start flying the drone from day dot, you just think, oh my god, it's just that view from a different perspective. It's just so different. It really is like flying, especially when you're looking down at your screen, or if you are using the goggles, for example. But yeah, that's exactly what I say. In terms of the ND filters, it's just sunglasses for your drone. How much light do you want to let in to your situation? And yeah, in terms of the Lightroom, it's a signature. You can save it, you can make images better. There's a lot of footage I see online in different groups, different social media pages, where people will just put the raw image on, just the original image, but there's so much more that you can do. There's giving it that depth, making sure the levels are right. As Dan said, there's so much to go into: contrast, brightness, depth, of how deep do you want your blacks, etc., etc. But never just go in with just the image that you captured, because you can make it so much better.
And you may have noticed that, kind of, in particular, if you're taking photographs for social media, that a lot of people have kind of images which are have like teal or orange tones, like they're almost like a bit autumnal. That's because like people like Red Bull spent millions of pounds in research as to what humans, basically the human eye, is attracted to. So again, adjusting the color settings, the saturation, etc., you can't do that on the drone. And if social media is your game, like I do to a degree, you don't want to hoodwink the people. You want it to still be the real photo, but at the end of the day, social media, you want your photographs to be optimized for your audience, and you just can't do that without Lightroom.
That's it. It's getting it to that standard, competitive standard, and that's what the industry is. So yeah, 100%. And some companies may want that raw footage. But if you want to catch eyes, if you want to stand out, if it is that final product, you're going to want these two components to get the best standard of image. Okay, so in terms of training and actual qualifications, what's included in the bundle then? So just to
Sorry, Jamie, can I just
Oh, yeah,
step
far
back
away.
one bit? A really kind of important part of the package as well, which I just want to highlight, is the fact that you also get an hour with myself. Or well, it says an hour, but in essence, you can talk for as long as you like, as long as it's not 4 hours. Then that's fine. And it can be anything you want. You can talk about, well, how am I going to fly my drone? How am I going to build my business? You know, what have you done wrong? What have you done right? Like now, I didn't realize the light. This is a classic example. I didn't realize that it was going to be super bright with light in my right eye. And so that's your opportunity to kind of pick my brain, really. And from all the conversations I've had, the biggest tip I can give to any of you guys, and I get it on social media where they ask me, look, well, what industry am I going to make the most money in? That's completely the wrong question to be asking. Like, you know, should I do wedding photography? You have to do something which excites you and makes you want to put the graft in. I basically work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week on this. I am like so far down the rabbit hole, I can't even see the light apart from now. It's over there. So you have to pick something which really makes you want to get out of bed, because it is hard. It's hard work getting here, but it definitely, you know, it's definitely possible. I'm proof of it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And just to build on that again, that's the support that ourselves at Copters give. That's the reason we call you from our mobile phones instead of just a landline, for example. Dan is offering a one-to-one. Originally, it was just to a select few, but we thought, well, before the call, and we've had a bit of a think about it, and outside of the webinar, where can we give the value to these guys? Dan has got so much experience, not just in photography, but just general knowledge on adventures, on going out and getting it. But it's having that passion about what you want to do. Again, Dan's absolutely right. I have a lot of people that are interested in this industry because it's growing, it's absolutely bubbling, and we can feel it at Copters. It's an exciting, new and raw place to be a part of. But if you don't have that hunger to go and get it, and if it's not something that you're really excited to go and get, then maybe it's not quite right for you. Having a great drone, some great training is going to put you on such a pedestal anyway. But we just need to put the energy in behind you, because a lot of time when you have kit as good as this, work will find you. It's all about the work that you put in to get that conveyor belt of work coming in anyway. So yeah, you need that hunger. You need to put the work in. Doing the course, getting the drone, that's the fun bit. The adventures we go on, that's the fun bit. But you got to put the work in as well. So yeah, 100%. Okay, so in terms of the new regulations, some of you who are on this may already have known this, but essentially there's new restrictions, there's new regulations that have come in as of this year. So that's the 31st of December 2020. So yeah, 2021, new year for regulations. It's all about risk, it's all about safety, and it's all about weight category as well, how you want to fly your drone and uninvolved people. So within the bundle, we have the GVC course, but just so you're aware, depending on what drone you have and how you want to fly it, will determine what training that you'll need to do. So we've got 3 sections. First section is low risk. So this is for essentially if you're flying in these remote places like Dan does, low risk. So not when the helicopter's flying overhead, that would be a high risk situation. But essentially low, not very heavy drones out and about where you're not on someone's land, where there's no TAMs or anything like that, but essentially low risk, not a lot of people, is the main thing to think about with the new regulations. Specific is your medium risk, so slightly heavier drones, so things like the Inspire, which we touched on, anything like a Matrice, a Wingtra, which Kevin mentioned earlier. If there's more people, if you need to do overflight of people, if you're getting close to buildings, vessels, all these different scenarios, as soon as that risk value goes up, we need to look at more training. The next step is a certified, which we don't really need to worry about too much. This is more for like dangerous goods and transport. We're not at that stage yet, don't worry. So in terms of the training that we have here at Copters for this bundle is the medium risk. So this is the GVC. It'll also come with the A2 CFC, so we can tick all boxes. Dan mentioned it earlier. If you're working with larger brands, if you're wanting to stand out, we need to be certified. We need to be ticking all boxes, making sure we've got the right insurances in place, and we've gone out of the way to get the best training possible. Are you gonna, as an employer, you're gonna consider someone who's done an A2 CFC course, tick the box, and is happy to go on? I did the A2 CFC training this weekend whilst I was watching the golf. It took me about 3 or 4 hours to do. I'm obviously a specialist in the area. I know exactly what's going on in the industry, so it's easier for me. But would I feel confident if I just done those 4 hours of training and then went into the industry, started working around people and buildings? I don't think I would be. I don't think the employer would be too impressed with that either. This is about getting the best training, understanding what the industry is, and it's all about safety. We've already spoken about risk quite a lot in this already, but if you can show your employers and future potential jobs that you've done the training to a high standard, with level 4 standard, which is like HNC, HND, or first year of university, you've gone out of the way to get the best training in the UK from Copters with the Copters Academy, you're going to put yourself in a prime position to go and get work. So yeah, in terms of new regulations, if you have more questions on that, use the questions tab, but essentially it's all about risk, and we'll walk you through these processes anyway. But it's all about risk that we need to look at. And for anyone who had the PFCO before, that is the Coptz program. It's very, very similar. So there's still theory, there's the operations manual part of it, and then there's a flight assessment. And then instead of it being a PFCO, which is permission for commercial operation, because that commercial side is no longer there, it's all about being authorized. So it's operational authorization. We need to get signed off by the CAA to say that we're fit to fly, essentially. So yeah, in terms of the actual course, you've got 9 modules, so slightly different from last year. You've got an extra module in there. I won't read them out. I'm sure you're all capable of doing that anyway. You've got a theory exam, which is 40 questions. These are multiple choice. It used to be 64. You've got a slightly there. That's nice. But essentially, you've got an hour and a bit to do this course. When you're doing the modules, though, the Copters Academy, we've had some amazing feedback from, because of how interactive it is. Normally, when we do this course, it's face-to-face. We normally do it in 3 days. The way the world is at the moment, everything's online. It's all webinars, it's all online teaching. You can interact with the Copters Academy. So there's videos to interact with and watch. There's webinars like this. You've got a quiz after every module, little 5-question quiz, all multiple choice and really simple for you to go through. When you're doing the training, you can jump in and out. So you might do law, then you might jump to meteorology, and you fancy doing a bit of weather. And you can jump from side to side. It's completely down to you. So if you're someone who wants to churn out and do a bit of training, that's fine. If you want to watch a bit of golf and do it in the background like I did this weekend, again, that's absolutely fine. It's completely down to you and however you want to learn. So yeah, for example, a quick story about one of my managers, Sam. We actually lost his paperwork for his course, and he did it in 1 day, did the theory, and did the practical day 2. He was absolutely frazzled by the end of it, but it shows you that if you want to crack on, you can. But also, we have got a lot of customers that are doing it over a month or so, that are doing it in their own time. So it really is down to you, and the Coptz Academy will just adjust to how you want to learn. And it'll be exactly the same for the Dan Hughes course as well. But yeah, in terms of Ops manual, this is like a business plan of how you're going to use your drone in the industry. So off the back of this, it's likely it's going to be a lot of photography things going on there. What drone is it? The Mavic 2 Pro, and then how you want to use it, what company is. And then finally, you've got your practical exam. So again, this is slightly changed. So we've now got a 2-hour slot. It used to be 1 hour, and this is with our instructors, our trainers. So we're giving you more time with our experts so you can get as much value as you can. So we'll do some maneuvers in there, do some flying, best practice, safe setup, and there's also case study flying. So we've added this element to give you more confidence, again, to give you more confidence going into the industry for work. We had a lot of nervous people at our flight assessments. So we wanted to spend more time with you on site before you go into the industry. So yeah, we're constantly adjusting to make it better for you and to make all this a lot more smoother. It's just all about confidence at the end of the day, getting you into the industry, because that's where the fun is.
It's probably worth mentioning, Jamie, that you do a number of live feeds as well. So next Tuesday, if anybody's ever you go through it and you're like, you know what, I'm still unsure about something. Jamie goes live a lot of the time. So next Tuesday we're doing a drone regs, and just unpicking it and giving people all hints and tips, and doing a live Q&A. So that's the key thing about everything that we do. It's like, it's not just here's your package, here's your course, off you go. It's like we view you as lifetime partners, and we'll be with you. Your success is our success. So we do a lot of extra support and training as well. And Jamie is always leading the charge for that for us, which is great.
Yeah, spot on. Cheers, Kev. But yeah, it's true that we're here. So I can see I've got my mobile here. I've got loads of guys. I can see it's flashing up all the time because we call from our mobiles, so you can get hold of us. It's that personal touch. It's all about that value. It's the same reason Dan wants to do these one-to-ones, so you can get the most out of it. It's not just a case of, oh, okay, I like that drone, I'm going to buy it, I'm going to go into Argos and get myself a new drone. It's that help. It's understanding that drone. We're the experts for a reason. So most mornings at Copters, we have a little test on our desk, so we know what exactly is going on with the regulations, what exactly is going on with the new drones that are coming out, so we can advise you best. When it comes to photography, we know that Dan is absolutely smashing it, and he's got the best drone, he's got the best kit. So this is why we've essentially just mirrored everything that he's doing, so we can just go from there essentially. But yeah, as Kevin was saying, that it's about joining the family. When you're part of the Copters Academy, you'll never get kicked out of that. You've always got our details. If you need any help, we can go from there. But say you've gone through the process, you've done Dan's course, and you think, do you know what? I can remember he was saying something about these helicopters on the beach, and it was a bit too low. What is the process for us to go through that? We'll jump back into the Copters Academy. You can do that. You can do that from your phone. So it's just a case of you've got it there. It's paperless, and you can go. When I first did the course a couple of years ago, it was a huge booklet. There was scribbles everywhere, and it was a nightmare. It was something I had to take in my bag again. Whereas again, you can just have that on your phone and just go. So you'll never get kicked out. As part of the bundle as well, you'll also get put into the Facebook community. So I'm not sure if it's too small there, but essentially we've got loads of guys that are in there. It's a very live, very active group. We've got social media executives at Copters, so content is constantly getting put out there. We've got jobs that we throw out. We had a really exciting role in Dubai that we're just posting about at the moment. I think that's based with a theme park that's up and coming, but there's essentially all sorts going on. Excitement about flight assessments, about training, any questions about the industry. We also put some information about new regulations in there. So yeah, it's all about being part of that Copters family, the Copters community, and just being part of the team. Just being part of the team. Right, so we've got to the Q&A stage. I can see there's quite a few that have come in already, Dan. Plenty for us to go through. There was one that I wanted to jump to first, which is from Andrew Thompson, just regarding the Mavic Pro 3. You wouldn't believe how many times they get asked this question. It's the same for the Inspire 3. It's the same for the Phantom 5. Not just yet, guys. Really sorry. But yeah, we're Gold Enterprise partners at Copters. So essentially, if something's going on with DJI, we know about it because we have to prepare. We have to get everything ready. Kev needs to know so he can market it. So yeah, in terms of Mavic 2 Pro, very exciting stuff. But no, it's not on the horizon just yet. We've just had the release of the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, which we think is where a lot of people have kind of got wires crossed. But yeah, essentially not just yet, guys. Really sorry, but we think if it is a thing, or when it is a thing, it will be amazing. But the camera on this, the drone is. Do you need much more?
I can't imagine it's going to be a huge upgrade on the photography side. It's difficult,
Yeah.
and because the sensor size and the form factor of the drone can only handle so much. I think the new one will have more megapixels, but I don't think it's not going to be this revelation where it's going to be a 40 megapixel camera natively, because to do that you need an SLR. So it's not going to be that platform, but who knows?
That's it. That's
I,
it. It's one of those things, isn't it? These rumors come around a lot, but you're right. From the Mavic 2 Pro, the next step up would be the Inspire, and that's for your TV standard, your 5K stuff. And for a lot of the work that you're going to be doing, this drone is absolutely spot on for it. So yeah, if anything from the Mavic, as we've seen with the Phantom 4, they'll just specialize. So this new Mavic, it's more for inspection really. But yeah, nothing just yet. But yeah, Andrew, thanks for asking that question, because I'm sure a lot of people are asking the same thing. Dan, can you see the questions on your bit?
yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So I'll go down from the top. Have we started? Yes, we have started.
Can you see Steve Shelley's question there for you? So just asking, how do you handle licensing in international assignments? So what your process is, and I assume this will be part of the course as well, just going through those processes and making sure everything's safe and just best practice and getting in touch with the right people.
Yeah, for sure. So I've got a commercial license here. I've got a license in the USA. When I'm going anywhere interesting, I absolutely look at all the drone laws to see whether I need a license or how I can fly my drone. That's all a big part of the mission preparation, which you'll do with your drone course with Copters as well, in terms of checking out, what's around you, hazards, airplanes, airports, etc. So I do all my homework before I even get on my bike. It's not just about checking light levels, it's also about flying safely, because at the end of the day, I am doing this for a job, so I don't want to get in trouble. There are places where, you just can't fly a drone. So if you decided to go on your EasyJet flight and you go down to Marrakesh, you think, oh, that'd be a nice place to fly a drone. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to land and they're going to confiscate it from you. So for some reason, they're absolutely paranoid about drones. I don't know why, but they are. So you just can't fly a drone in Morocco, period. So doing your research everywhere is just super, super important to make sure that you're doing everything legally. Even though the drone does have all the software within it, which just says, look, you're in an enhanced warning zone, whatever, you still wouldn't want to rely on it, because at the end of the day, you'll be the one being carted off, and you are the one responsible for your drone.
It's true. It's true. It's all about the processes. All about the processes.
In saying that, just on that, I know you talk about Morocco, but with the drone regs changes that Jamie was talking about earlier, it's like police have increased powers in the UK as well. It's not as simple as just getting a drone and flying now. If you've got a drone, you need to be registered, and if you've got a drone with a camera, then it's absolutely essential you at least have the A2CC.
Yeah. There's a question here from Stephen Cooper about the editing software. In essence, yeah, it is the course is very Lightroom specific. I'm sure the other software does have elements which are the same in terms of basic controls over exposure, clarity, etc., texture, but we go a lot more into kind of using filters and sort of radial filters, brushes, which are very, very useful. Say if there's just like one tiny part of your photograph which maybe is too bright or too dark, you can basically use these filters just to lighten up or darken those particular areas. And I use those pretty much in every single photograph, just to maybe just adjust one tiny part of it. And I'm not too sure if the other softwares will have that, or will be called something different, or work in a very different way. So you will be able to take parts of it, but I'm not too sure whether all of it will be relevant, unfortunately. But check out Lightroom. I think it's brilliant. There isn't a better solution in my mind.
Sorry, Jamie, do you just know on Lightroom, in terms of the amount of photos that you take, and you work with multiple brands and clients, and it's like, I know we've got all the filters and we're talking about the end product, but if you don't have Lightroom, it's that productivity side of it as well, and that's why you have the presets, right? It's like it allows you to do it at a quicker speed, which allows you to do all these wonderful assignments, work with multiple brands, get this stuff out there quick. Because if you didn't have these filters, I'd guess you'd just be there for hours, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be leaving your room.
Yeah, it is incredible, like how time consuming it is. So I've done lots of assignments where I'll basically be out photographing all the day, and the deliverable is to have the assets available by the end of the day. And I'll be working all day, and then I'll spend 5 hours editing, going through the photographs, because you just the sheer quantity you'll take in a day. I might take between 1,000 to 2,000 photographs in a day. You've got to pre-sort those, which again is where Lightroom helps you out in terms of like sorting your imagery. And then you then got to select the ones which you want to do, and then you then got to provide different crops for social. So 4x5 squares, 3x2, which are traditionals. They might want a black and white version, they might want a color version, they might want a desaturated version. Like, it would be an absolute nightmare if you didn't have Lightroom. Right, you wouldn't get employed. Every single photograph you see in a magazine or newspaper has gone through Lightroom or some sort of program like it. You just can't physically operate as a photographer. And the same with videography in terms of filters and bits and pieces which they put on films. Every film you watch now on Netflix, etc., they're all desaturated because they know what the human eye likes. So yeah, you just have. And I am a good photographer. Well, I think I'm a good photographer. But what I'm really good at, and this is like blowing my trumpet, is I'm really good at the edit. I'm now at a point where I can save photographs or make photographs look much better than I ever used to be able to do that, and that's just years of experience. But I can basically give you a leapfrog up to try and like save you some time.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Because these Lightrooms come with a package, and then the course, the Lightroom filters come with a package, but then the course as well, you're going to go into, you're not just going to give people filters in the package. In the course, you're going to go through how to actually create these kind of filters as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a simple thing to do, but absolutely, it's about thought processes as well. It's not just about the actual event, but actually trying to like streamline your life to save yourself time. There's so much in it, from kind of editing the photos. Think about capacity. Human factors is very difficult. Like, as a single pilot operator, human factors. I've been there, I've done it. And I won't do it again. I was like trying to video and photograph a waterfall. And it's kind of classic. I was there looking at my screen, and I suddenly thought to myself, I'm not even looking out where I'm at, where the drone is. I'm supposed to be visual line of sight, but I'm just there like a chimp looking at my screen with no perception of what is behind me, because I'm reversing away from it. So it's all these little things. It all adds up to making you into a safer, better, more competent drone pilot, and hopefully getting some badass photographs and videos as well.
Yeah, big time.
Spot on. Okay, awesome. A guest called Chelsea Smith has asked a question: what is the best drone for film? So Chelsea, really good question. Get this a lot actually. In terms of, it's all about the standard. So if it is for stuff like YouTube, online, anything visual marketing, the Mavic 2 Pro is absolutely awesome. If you're looking at TV standard, you are realistically wanting to go for something like the Inspire 2, but this drone, in terms of, like Dan was saying earlier about 4K, and there's 4K and then there's 4K, it's like a spectrum. So this drone is right on the edge of being 5K. The standard is phenomenal with the Mavic 2 Pro. So this is why it's such a versatile drone. It's such a popular drone because you can do such high standard of photography and film. But yeah, we can't go over how good the camera is, this Hasselblad camera. If you mention Hasselblad to anyone in the photography industry, they'll recognize it straight away. So it's renowned. And if you go on the DJI website, they rave about this camera. The page for the Mavic 2 Pro is really, really cool. Some amazing footage, but yeah, in terms of what this drone could do, it's pound for pound. Again, I said it earlier, pound for pound, the Mavic 2 Pro is just class. It really is that good.
I'll tell you what, Jamie, I mean, what did you shoot? If you want to see what this drone can do, and I'm guessing epic calls, Dan?
Yeah.
You used it to shoot epic calls?
Yeah, so yeah, all the video on epic calls was shot in it. And And to be honest, like the days of old with broadcasters where basically they wouldn't accept any content below 50 megabits per second. They were just like super regimented. Now, GoPros are being thrown in. And to be honest, the quality difference is very, very marginal unless you go for a full-on octocopter with a £50,000 camera underneath it. The big reason why people use the Inspire and the other higher grades is just because then you can have a drone operator and then a camera operator. That is the biggest reason, because actually it's quite hard to control the drone, the flight path, and when you talk about capacity, to control the flight path and control the camera at the same time. So that's the biggest reason why people use the higher grade drones, because actually I've seen Inspire footage and actually I don't think it's any better than this, but they had two controllers, so that was the big difference.
How would people check out Epic Calls, Dan? How would they be able to check it out?
Yeah, so there's the website, which is just epiccalls.com. I can put it in the chat if you like.
Sure.
Great.
So that's a really big project with Shimano, the world's biggest bicycle parts manufacturer. So huge passion project which got funded last year, £40,000 spent on it, where I basically got to go around Europe and photograph and ride the world's greatest cycling climbs. And that mission is like a lifelong mission. It is about cycling, but ultimately my job is actually about sharing the beauty and the landscapes in which I'm in. Oh, and by the way, there is a cyclist in the photograph, maybe. It doesn't have to have a cyclist in it. Yeah, so it's just all about capturing epic, beautiful places, really. And it's just getting more and more exciting every year, which is cool.
Right, okay, right. We're just going to do, I've just noticed that we've gone over in terms of time, but we'll have a quick fire round, get through these questions. Right, so just to answer a few in terms of Copters. Trish, if you're still with us, Trish, I'd say just get in touch with Copters customer service. You should already be eligible for that A2 CFC course. And that's for anyone who's on this as well. If you've done the PFCO with us last year, you're eligible, and we've probably already signed you up to the A2 course. If not, you've dropped me a message or services@copters.com, and we'll get you up and running. But that, yeah, not a problem at all. And another question was,
for Nick Newton, had a question about resources which I use. So obviously there's all the kind of the drone sort of resources through the CA where you get your NOTAMs, et cetera, in terms of the legal side. But from a photographic side, yeah, I'll look at Google Earth, I'll look at sunrise and sunsets, and you can even do, I didn't know about it until my neighbor was basically trying to stop me building an extension. But yeah, there's a lot of light survey where basically you can predict where the sun is going to be at a certain time, and then you can then superimpose that onto Google Earth, which is then super interesting to see, well, actually, if I'm going to take a shot from that way, yeah, the sun's going to be behind me, so actually the subject's going to be nicely illuminated. Or you might find it the other way, that actually I'm going to be shooting into sun at that time, which is always really challenging, stroke kind of difficult. So I use those as well. But if you can, you absolutely want to get there. Well, you can't predict the weather, that's the only thing. And get there 24 hours before, exactly the same sort of time if you can, if the weather's going to be the same, just to see what it's like, see what the shadows are like, see what the light's like. Maybe it gets windier, like the coastal module, it gets windier in the afternoons, the wind shifts. So little things like that which you might not pick up if you go at a different time. Yeah, as much research you can do as possible, in particular if it's a really mission critical, important assignment. Preparation is key, and that just all comes from the military. We spent years, hours just preparing, just preparing all the time. There's 99% boredom, 1% excitement. Yeah.
But yeah, it's true, and our training team will absolutely love Dan saying that, because it's all about that preparation, it's all about that recon. So yeah, it's safety and risk. We've just got to keep on remembering that, and then when it comes to getting everything ready, the more detail, it's just going to make yourselves easy for you, make it easier for yourselves. Nigel has just asked about our about flying. If flying permissions in other countries, but I think we touched on that earlier.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And then he's just asked as well, have you done much flying in Europe this year? Obviously, there's quite a lot of restrictions. Have you managed to do much flying this year, Dan?
In 2021, no, because I went to San Francisco last weekend, but actually I haven't been in Europe. Last year, actually COVID pretty much didn't impact me at all. A mixture of luck in terms of I spent pretty much 3 months away throughout the summer. But the countries like France, etc., was open in July, so I could like freely move around. And then also, although you read in the headlines about kind of essential travel, you are still allowed to work. And having my own photography business with contracts, that still allows you to operate, which a lot of people don't realize. So the impact to me is actually more around clients deciding to delay the content shoot because they're worried about public perception rather than me not being able to do it. So, you know, you can still go out and do things. And I have been, you know, in the USA, etc., a lot.
Okay, awesome. And then Rod has just been asking about where are our practical training sessions. So we have 11 different locations. So from top to bottom, just to test myself, we've got Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Leeds, Rugby, Belfast, Norwich, Cardiff, Kent, Brighton, and Hook, and that's all 11. So yeah, we've got courses everywhere. Our main hubs are Leeds, obviously being our headquarters. Rugby, we do a lot of there, Cardiff and Hook. That's normally where we churn the most out. But essentially, yeah, get in touch. And we've got training now we do pretty much anywhere. And there was another quick one there. And then also, Charles has just asked if this is going to be recorded. Yes, this will all be recorded. As long as I press the buttons right at the end, we're going to be all good. Any that you wanted to, oh, what about the Bosco Chan question for you there, down at the bottom?
Where's that? Sorry, do you want to read it out?
Yeah, so have you shot 360 with the Mavic 2 Pro? And what is it like to edit that in Lightroom?
I haven't actually. No, I don't really use the pre-fly maneuvers that much either. But no, I haven't used the 360 function. I guess I probably should. I just haven't thought about that. I think you have to, for me, in terms of style of photography and what my partners would use, I think that would be something kind of for fun, but I'm not too sure that they would use it. And ultimately, obviously I photograph for fun as well, but you know, 99% of the time when I'm using my drone, it's for work purposes. So and that's a really important question to ask your client. You know, just tell me exactly what you need. Can you give me some examples of photographs you really like? Because there's nothing worse than going out and taking a whole collection of imagery. Fortunately, it hasn't happened yet because I asked those questions. But the point about it is that, you know, you could spend a day doing something, and then the client goes, actually, that's not what we wanted. And it's your responsibility to ask them the question, not the other way around.
That's it. Got to ask all the right questions, yeah. Okay, right. So last question of the day then is just Paul just asking about flight assessments. So in terms of the flight assessments moving forward, with the restrictions at the moment, we don't have a lot going through, but we're looking at the end of the month, we'll start getting places up and running again. But yeah, just watch your space. There'll be loads of emails going out about them, keeping everyone updated. And just to kind of go over again then, Dan, what is exactly in the Ultimate Drone Photography package?
So the package is the course with you guys, obviously to make sure that you're legal and safe. Is the Mavic 2 drone with the smart controller, the Fly More kit, which comes with the extra batteries. Comes with a really nice bag to put all your stuff in, which is basically big enough to put cones in, etc. High vis vest, hats, which is like really important to make sure you can carry everything you need. And then lastly is the 1 hour one-to-one with me, where you can ask me anything as long as it's appropriate.
Yeah, spot on. Well, that's it, guys. You've got the ultimate photography package there. More details are on the website. I'm sure there'll be a mail going out this afternoon as well. If you've got any more questions, do get in touch. Dan is more than happy to have chats with people off the back of this as well. Same for myself. Any questions, do let us know. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. But anyone who was on yesterday, sorry about that, and thank you for last minute joining us on here. Any feedback as well about this different webinar system, that'd be great. But yeah, you two got anything else to add?
No, except thanks for tuning in. As always, your support is awesome, guys. We see the drone industry, it's global, it's a big community, and we're all in it together. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you on the Dan Hughes course, and we'll see you tuning into Dan for one-to-ones if you buy the package.
Spot on. Cool. Right, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy.
See you later.
Right.
I've got to figure out how to stop it now, haven't I?